Mike Owens here, joined today by Brandon Royval, the #1 ranked UFC flyweight. Brandon, always a pleasure, my man. How are things with you today?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Good, good. The last time we spoke, you were preparing to face Brandon Moreno in that rematch. How are your emotions after such a big win?
They're a little bit all over the place, man. Just trying to see what was next for me and what could be next and all that stuff. So I was just happy to kind of like avenge like what I consider is like a little bit of an asterisk on my record.
Hmm. Yeah, because we talked about that, and I know that revenge has been a big topic on your mind, especially with Pantoja, and then obviously with the Moreno fight that you got on short notice. So, how did revenge feel? Because it was something that you were certainly after.
Yeah, it feels good, man. I feel like um the fight itself is like it's whatever. Uh I'm not saying I'm upset with my performance. I feel like there could have been a lot of cooler things done.
Mm.
I and I feel like I was kind of outspoken about it, but probably my first interview since I waited. I was supposed to be the backup for that title fight, so
Mm.
I was keeping everything on the hush. But I tore my MCL in that fight, that first round. So yeah, that the 4 rounds after that, I was kind of scared, and mainly the second round and the third round, I was a little scared, and then finally, I was just like, whatever, it is what it is, you know. It's like I can't change it now, and so the like months after that kind of sucked.
Wow. So you fought 4 rounds with an MCL against a Mexican in Mexico City.
Yeah, and the
Wow.
kicking was my whole entire game plan against Brandon Moreno. Just keep my distance, kick, and make him like pull him out of range. You know, he likes fighting in boxing range. I feel like Davis and Figueiredo and Pantoja both walk him that range and would enter that range. And it was like my game plan was draw him out, and make him fight a little bit more in my range, and that's the kicking range. And couldn't really make it happen because I couldn't throw that kick too often.
So what goes on in your head at that moment? Like, do you tell Mark? Do you tell your coaches? Do you try and work out like a game plan around that injury, or is it just hope it holds up and try and stay away from it?
Yeah, well, it was actually really interesting. So I feel like Brandon Moreno's corner. I always forget his cornerman's name, but he recognized it right away. And I
Mm.
remember hearing him in like the first round, like, "There's something wrong with his knee. There's something wrong with his leg, or something." And I was like, "Damn, bro! Like, can you be quiet a little bit? You don't need. He doesn't even know this." But I told my cornerman right away. I was like, "Something's wrong with my left knee. Like something's happening." And I like it was like slipping and just really weird, man. It was really weird. But I kept it a little bit on the hush because I was trying to take that title fight right afterwards, and then I got signed as the backup, and so I was just like, all right, well, we got to make the best of it until this fight weighs out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's been a rough three months, 2 months right after me fighting Moreno, but I'm back to practicing fully and just no like restraints and stuff again. So I'm happy about that.
What was the experience like of being the backup for UFC 301? I saw you out there living your best life in Rio de Janeiro. What was the whole experience like? Because I imagine part of it is you trying to enjoy the city and enjoy the moment, but also you've got to be ready to flick that switch if you get the call.
So that was something interesting too. Is I was waiting as a backup, but I got like maybe because I was dealing with the knee thing,
Mm.
and maybe 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, I pulled out of it just because I'm like, if something happens,
Mm.
I can't fight. Like I wasn't able to train in the last of it. So yeah, I dealt with a couple other injuries in that camp, man, and then dealing with the knee injury coming in, and there's just so much kind of telling me that I'm like, okay, if any of these guys miss weight, which I didn't think was gonna happen,
Mm.
or even if so, it's just like I can't put out the best fight that I could, and I wouldn't want to fuck up a great opportunity for a great fight. You know, it's
Mm.
fighting Erceg and our Pantoja would have been fun, and we could have made some fun happen. You know, and I wouldn't want to rob a fan out of that, and I wouldn't want to rob myself out of an opportunity. And you know, if they wanted to give someone, I don't think they gave anybody else the backup opportunity, but yeah, anybody else that opportunity
Mm.
in the mix of that. So I had to pull out of it, and it sucked. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep my ticket. I'm gonna go to Rio, and I'm gonna go watch and see if Erceg wins. I was pretty much guaranteed the next title shot. So I was like, all right, well, we could just see what happens with Erceg and Pantoja, and see where it goes from there.
You're in a very interesting position, Brandon, because if you've got that #1 right next to your name, it's like in theory the title shot should be next for you, but obviously you're less than 6 months removed, or just over 6 months removed from a title fight against Alexandre Pantoja. So do you feel like you've got to do more to earn that title shot, or do you feel like if the stars align and the right opportunity comes, then you could slide right in there next?
I think I'm gonna need to win another fight for sure. Maybe another 2 fights, depending on how the division shakes up, who wins their next fights, and what happens with who they're bringing in and stuff. So it just depends, man. It just depends on what's going on. But I'm almost guaranteed I need to fight at least one more fight or 2 more fights to for surely get the next title shot, as long as Alexandre Pantoja is a champion. So we'll see exactly what happens, but I know that I need to fight at least one more time.
So in a perfect world, and obviously life's not perfect, we're talking about serious knee injuries and fights being cancelled here. So life's not perfect, but in a perfect world, let's say Pantoja's out, who's the man you would like next?
I think the next dude in the rankings is Albazi. So I would like to fight Albazi. He's the one that I fought most of the top 10 of the division so far. I feel like Albazi, I haven't fought yet. The winner of Mokaev, Kape, I would want to fight, and are the winner of Taitatsu Rowe and Alex Perez, I would want to fight. So any of those guys, anyone in the top 5 that I haven't fought yet would be pretty idealistic. And and we'll see who else they bring in this division, because they're gonna shake it up pretty soon here, and I'm excited to see what happens.
So talking about July 13th and the card that's coming to Denver, I checked the record. I think it's only the first time in 5 years the UFC's come to Denver, which kind of surprised me, given it's a hotbed of talent. There's so many gyms, so many top ranked fighters out of there. Is there any chance we could see you on that card, or is with the injury and with the timing, do you think it's that ship has sailed?
No, it's not even injury, man. It's just that lack of opponents. I've
Mm.
called, I've texted, I've messaged everybody. I called out anybody who doesn't have a fight, and then brought it to Mick Maynard's attention, my manager's attention. I'm like, yo, let's bring him here. Let's bring him here. Let's bring him here. They offered me a fight, which I didn't agree with the terms and conditions, but I was trying to get that fight to happen in Colorado, and they denied that. So it's just been kind of a roller coaster. But the fight in Colorado is very unlikely, or it's not going to happen, to be realistic. So I don't know, man. And I feel like even the Colorado card, I don't know if they're done adding to it, but it seems like they haven't added too many more fights to it, and kind of just interested to see who comes on it. Like, who are they going to put on the card? Like, what's going to happen and all that stuff? Because I think there's only like 7 fights put on that card so far, and
There's a
that
couple
arena
of your
needs to sell out.
teammates, isn't there? Cody's on there. Josh Frem's on there as well.
Cody, Josh Freeman, I'm training with Macy Barber right now too. So I have 3 teammates that are going to be on it, and they're going to kill it. I'm excited for them. I'm super excited to just be front row and watching all that happen too. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed in the sense that there is a fight coming on in Colorado. It's like my dream to main event in the Ball Arena. I grew up like maybe 2 miles away from that place. Um, that's the arena I would always go to. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
basketball games, I'm there at least 3 times a year, just watching games and just supporting the local teams and all that stuff. I grew up in Denver. I grew up in Colorado, and oh man, I'm just bummed. I'm just bummed that I'm not on it, and I'm bummed that Corey Sandhagen's not on it. That was like the first things when I found out there's a fight card coming to Colorado when there's rumors of it.
Mm.
I hit up Corey Sandhagen. I'm like, bro, are you gonna be the main event of this, or like, like I just assumed it was gonna be me or him because we're the Colorado people,
Mm.
and we're pretty high ranking, and it'd been cool to see Corey Sandhagen get Umar Nurmagomedov 5 rounds in Colorado. I think that would have been a smart move if he could have got that there, because I think a 5 round fight suits him no matter what. But 5 rounds in Denver, shit, I think that's a benefit and a half.
Is Colorado considered, or Denver, like, are they considered like fighting cities, or is that considered a fighting state? And are you surprised that the UFC doesn't come there as often as it does?
Yeah, yeah, I consider it a fighting state. UFC originated from Denver. Like
Mm.
the first UFC was in Denver, and as far as like athletes in Denver, it's a huge deal because we're a mile high up in altitude.
Mm.
So we have the what is it called, the Olympic Training Center in Colorado, like in Colorado. So
Mm.
you get a lot of athletes coming in. We have 2 of the top gyms, Factory X and then Elevation. We have Genesis out there, so we have guys that are all in the UFC. 3 different gyms where there's pretty great people coming out of it. Rose Namajunas, I think, trains at Genesis. Corey Sandhagen's at Elevation, and like there's just so many
Yeah.
Elevation guys,
Mm.
and then Factory X where we have all of our great guys too. So yeah, I'm surprised they don't come here at least once a year, and maybe now that COVID's over, they're gonna be coming in more often too. So that's the hope within next year is I can keep my ranking and stay high in the division, or maybe win a bout somewhere along the line and bring him back to Colorado and be a main event or co-main event in it.
Is there a gym rivalry there between Rose and Macy? I didn't realize that Macy was training at Factory X. Is there a kind of Denver gym rivalry
I
crossover
think
there?
I think Macy's gonna mainly just train here for this fight. I don't know what she's
Mm.
gonna do afterwards, but
Okay.
I don't know if there's a rivalry between them two. I think they've known each other forever. Macy
Mm.
told me that she's helped her train before and all that stuff. So I don't know what their situation like or what like if this is just business, but yeah, there's not for me. Uh, and like elevation, Factor X and elevation is like I support all those guys,
Yeah,
man. I feel like, and I don't know what their terms and condition is, but it's like if you're thinking of like being a rivalry of people in your state, you're not thinking big enough,
I
and
agree.
that's like kind of how I think is just like there besides Tai Tatsuro, which who I like was able to train with these last few years. There's really no one in elevation that's ever been like a threat to me as far as flyweights go.
Mm.
So I've never taken them as like a enemy. It's like I always cheer their guys on. If they're on a card, I'm cheering for them. And it's cool, man. It's like cool. Like when you think about like a Corey Sandhagen and a couple of these guys, like I've watched them, like Chepe, I've watched them fight locally.
Mm.
I watched Corey Sandhagen fight as an amateur. And it's like watching them go up it's been super cool, you know, and
Yeah.
watching Corey Sandhagen turn into the amazing MMA mind that he is and the skilled fighter that he is. It's been cool because I've been watching him since me and him were both 18 years old, you know, and Chepe Mariscal, I've seen him fight locally. I've seen a lot of these guys fight locally. So it's just there's never any hard feelings for me because it's just like I cheer those guys on and if they're not fighting one of my teammates, I'm cheering for them 100% of the time, you know.
Yeah, I love that. Talking about 301 and obviously the fight, what was your reaction to the title fight between Pantoja and Erceg? And did Steve Erceg's performance as the number 9 ranked guy in the world surprise you, or was that what you expected from him?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I thought Erceg could have won that fight.
Mm.
I was one of the people that I'm like, I think people are sleeping on him. Like Erceg's good, man. I've always thought Erceg's good. I think he has the intelligence and skill to beat someone like Pantoja. And in my head, I thought I was going in thinking, I'm like, okay, well, I wanted Erceg to win because I was going to get a title shot if he did win.
Mm.
But it was also just like I think he had the skill to win, you know, and I think he has the ability to win. And telling everybody around me, don't sleep on Erceg, man. You guys
Mm.
are people are sleeping on him, and I'm like, Pantoja's good for sure. Pantoja's good. He's strong, and he is very durable and very much willing to bring a fight and put himself through hell. Erceg is skilled. Like
Yeah.
Erceg is a smart fighter, and I knew it was going to be a closer fight than everybody else anticipated.
Where do you put yourself on that spectrum between skill and prepared to put yourself in the fire?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the perfect middle a little bit, you know. I feel like I ride that pretty hard, and I wish I feel like when I train, I'm super skilled, man. I'm super
Mm.
skilled, and it like sucks because sometimes I watch myself fight, and I'm like, damn, bro, you like sometimes forget to be skilled, and you just want to fight, and I love that about myself too. You know, I always feel like being a fighter is the perfect mix of being really dumb and really smart, you know, and it's like you have to be dumb enough to take the risk, and you got to be smart enough to know what risk you're taking, you know, and calculate that risk. And it's like if you see a really smart fighter, they're never going to be that calculate. They're going to calculate everything, you know.
Mm.
Like a really smart person, I don't think can ever be the best fighter because they're going to think of all the consequences coming up to it. And a really dumb person is going to think of none of the consequences and go forward, you know. And you see some of those people become successful. You see some of the really calculated people become successful, but a little bit of it is just like being smart enough to know the risk and being dumb enough to take that shit anyways when you calculate it, you
Mm.
know. And I really feel like that's a big part of fighting, you know.
That's very poetic, Brandon. You should become like MMA's poet because that was really, really well said how you said that. Um,
Yeah.
Alexandre Pantoja as champion, is that a good thing or a bad thing for you post 301? Because obviously we've already seen that fight previously. I know that the revenge and the rematch is very important to you, but from getting back to that title fight, was that a good or a bad result for you?
Not a good result for me, honestly. As far as like if Erceg won, I think he was even saying he's like, I'll call Royval out for the UFC Perth, and I was all ready for it. You know, I'm packing my bags to Australia, all that stuff. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get that done, and he did a great job in the process of it. I thought, if anything, his stock rose, And you know, uh, man, you always want to shit on people, but it's like I'm an Erceg fan, bro. That was cool. I
Mm.
think he did a great job. I'm a Pantoja fan too, and I just felt like they put on a really great fight, and I was just happy to be present and sit in front row for it at that time. You know.
Talking about a guy who you have a bit of a back and forth with, and I'm not sure if you're maybe a fan of, is a guy from my side of the world called Mokaev. You
Yeah.
guys have had this ongoing kind of Twitter beef for a number of years now, where it just feels like it's been bubbling for such a while. What is kind of your relationship with Mokaev, and was there any offer of you to potentially fight him in Manchester at 304?
No, nobody offered me that fight. It was never like presented on the table.
Mm.
But like in my head, it's like I already knew that UFC was coming to Denver.
Mm.
I think it's like a week before, right? It's like a week
Two
or two
weeks, two
before or
weeks before.
something. Yeah, yeah. And I was waiting on what was going to happen with the Erceg and Pantoja fight, but it was like I it's like I'm not gonna go fight in Manchester. He's not even from Manchester, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm.
would way rather come fight in Denver where I'm actually from. These are my people. I'm a huge representative of Denver. I do a lot for the community. I'm in the community. And like I said, that and then I also got the number one spot. So it was like I would rather have fought in Denver, especially if it's the week before of when Manchester is, you know, and that was kind of like where I was sitting with it. Is just like,
Mm.
why would I go to Manchester when I got the number one and there's a fucking fight in my actual hometown? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Bro, I got that American education, so I don't know much about like any of that stuff. About, like where Manchester is compared to where he lives. Like, if he actually lives in Manchester or not.
So he lives.
I'm not.
He emigrated from Russia, migrated from Russia, and he lives in a town called. He's from a town called Wigan, which is about a 30-minute drive from Manchester. So it's almost like
Yeah, so it's pretty much his home too.
the next major city. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty much his home too. Yeah, which I get, man. That's what I want too. It's
Mm.
just, I want to fight in my hometown, so I get what he wants that so bad too. But it was like it would have been more advantageous for me to wait to see if Erceg wins, and then we'll see what
Yeah.
happens with that, who
Mm.
I could fight. And by that time, the title fight finished. He was already matched up with Kape and all that thing. So it wasn't really like ever like lined up perfectly, you know.
Do you think he beats Cape?
I think yeah, I think Mokaev has the ability to beat a lot of guys in the division. Man. He's a stud wrestler. I have never grappled with him or anything like that, but you can
Mm.
just tell you could see when people are strong. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, or you could just
Mm.
get that sense or feeling like when you see what is it, Makachev
Yeah.
fight. When you
Yeah.
see Makachev fight, it's like I've never grappled that guy, but I bet you there's like a weird strength going on with him too. So I feel like he has the ability to beat Cape. I also feel like Cape could starch him. So I feel like it could go either way, man. I'm kind of excited to see that fight play out too.
Well, I want to turn the conversation back to you for one final question. We're at the start of June 2024 now, Brandon. Where is Brandon Royval in his career in 12 months' time? Where would you like to be come the 1st of June 2025?
The 1st of June, I either want to be lined up for a title fight or getting myself the next the a number one contender shot. You know, so I'm either lined up for a title fight or the next fight I fight is gonna guarantee me a title shot. One of the two, man. And I feel like I'm one victory away from a title fight or two victories away from a title fight. But we're close, you know. I'm super close to it, and I don't know where Pantoja will be at that time, but that'll be really beneficial to me if he's not hitting that title shot, that title spot. But if not, man, I'll earn my way back. I really do believe I can still win that fight. I have 100% belief in myself. I've calculated. I've done. I feel like the first fight I was like, I'll correct these errors, and the second fight is like I overcorrected some errors and I played it way too precautiously. And it's like I know how I want to approach this next fight with him. And you know, big shout out to Pantoja, man. He's so good. You know, he's so good. Slept on.
Mm.
Really great grappler, super strong. And I feel like when I fought him last time, I played it really safe. And that's not how I'm gonna win that fight necessarily, you know.
100%. It's always a pleasure catching up with you, Brandon. It was great to see you get that victory in Mexico City a few months back. Good to hear you're on the mend with the injury, and I wish you the best of luck with getting your next fight book, my brother.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Have a good